Hi everyone, this is Warcraft and this video is about suggestions for the next patch 2.05. I'm a map maker and I would like to start with suggestions coming from map makers. We would like to ask Blizzard to add to the editor a small fountain of health and a small fountain of mana with a reduced regeneration rate. That would help us to add them actually to the maps and make things balanced for the game. Also, please fix waygates. The waygate bug was mentioned a few times on Blizzard forums. The next one would be Dragon Roost, where we would like to ask to increase the starting delay for the Drake and the Dragon, making the Dragon available at the start of the second, third, and fourth day. We got some feedback from players playing FFA 4v4, and they really think these would be good changes, especially for the big dragon to appear a bit later. So after such changes, maybe we can add dragon roosts to the 1v1 maps as well. Would be nice. The next thing would be adding new creeps. So there are several creeps that are out there, but we have difficulty to use them on the maps, like brown bear and giant brown bear. There could be two new creeps added to the game, so we need just to have them a correct gold amount and for them to leave a corpse. It would be nice to have a blood wizard. Also, if possible, create a forest wizard. We don't have a level 3 creep that casts fairy fire. Such a wonderful spell for the early game. We don't see it on any map. You can see the list. For example, Hell Pebble would be a small version of Infernal Golem level 2. Pretty cool would be to have, just rescaling the graphics. And finally, changes to the creeps. Please consider them. Just to let you know, for you, probably these changes will take no more than 3 days of work, but if done, it will inspire map makers for the next 3 years. So let's move on to actual suggestions, and I would like to repeat one suggestion, and I think it's one of the best changes that can be done to the game. Increase the starting amount of lumber by 10 for all races. Recently, StarCraft 2 got the early economy slightly reworked. Warcraft 3 probably doesn't need that radical change, but this 10 lumber will actually make things smooth, and if you have the courage to try, I can put all my reputation that it would be a great change. And together with the extra 5 lumber change for the Tree of Life, you will give Night Elves opportunity to play a completely new build, Tree of Life first. Moon does it times to time, but these changes would optimize the build a lot. So let's start with human. Human balance changes. I think Paladin could get some attention, making his Holy Light more responsive to players, including the beginner ones. Same could be said for Militia duration, plus extra 2 seconds will be helpful for beginner players. The Rifleman attack cooldown could be reverted. Staff of Sanctuary has infinite healing, which might not be a good idea, so there is a suggestion to slightly rework it, to be a little bit faster, but have a set duration. We move on to additional suggestions. So one is making the Banish to deal damage to summon units. Human has only Priest Dispel to deal with summon units. If we add this ability to Blood Mage, then you can see Blood Mage as a first hero pick in some of the matchups. Some players who would like to experiment would be able to do that. Next thing is to reduce the number of Masonry upgrades from 3 to 2, move Dragonhawk Cloud upgrade to tier 2, and moves Magic Sentry from Arcane Sanctum to Keep. And the last suggestion for human would be Sundering Blades, and actually replace them with another ability. So maybe you guys can reconsider to make a more special upgrade for knights. I don't know what it could be. One possible suggestion is to give them more resistance against tier 2 magic. So replace Sundering Blades with a new innate ability called cleansing. So cleansing would remove from the knight all buffs and debuffs. It would not require a priest to be nearby all the time. So knights would be maybe deal better with sorks. Animation is there, everything is there, so it would be a nice addition to the game. We move to orc balance changes, and the most requested change from the community for orcs would be a mirror image nerf. So please reduce its cooldown and damage as well. Grubby mentioned clearly on his stream that why players pick mirror image, because if it's very good damage, especially in the late game. So this change will not affect that much 1v1 balance. Blade Master is still one of strongest heroes, but in FFA and 4v4 games that would calm down things a lot and would be greatly welcomed by the community. Also, I believe Torrent Totem Tag is a little bit too strong these days, so a small adjustment to delay its timing could be good, and also decreasing the sentry ward duration for witch doctors would be a good change to do. Okay, additional suggestions for orc would be to do something about Farsight. So please, the best idea you guys have in the house, please implement it. Give a chance orc to play Farsight a little bit differently or experiment with it. Most commonly, frequently heard change in the community, make Farsight give Farseer additional stats. For example, +1 strength, +1 agility, and 1 intel per level. Also, we can increase the Demolisher attack speed. That would make them in line with meat wagons. And directly buff also the use of burning oil upgrade, right? Lightning shield could be reduced in mana cost. Also, Batrider's liquid fire research time could be reduced because it takes too much time from the production building queue. Finally, the best balance change for orc. If you want to make a patch interesting for orc, it's hard to come up with a new change, but there is one. If you make the Great Hall food increase from 11 to 12, matching it with human Town Hall, then orc can experiment with early mass creeping because they can feed 2 grunts before tier 2 tech. That would mean they would build 1 peon less. It's not going to be balance breaking because any 12-foot strategy you can imagine, whatever, if you think it's imbalanced, you can play it with 11-foot Great Hall right now plus a second burrow. You're going to spend same amount of gold, your just tech will be 15 seconds later because of the second burrow. But if Blade Master and Farseer openings will likely still prioritize early attack and pressure, like usually people play these days, this +1 foot change will enable Shadowhunter and TC openings. Finally, orc will be able to play early creeping game, see if it works for them or not. Night Elves. The most requested change to the Night Elves in the community is for the Demon Hunter to be nerfed. Why? Because Immolation allows Demon Hunter to creep very fast, making him universal hero across all openings and matchups. So the suggestion is to reduce Immolation damage, adjust mana cost accordingly, have a flat cooldown for mana burn, and for Keeper of the Growth we can increase Treant's move speed, because Entangle is fine as it is, and increasing Treant's move speed will help them to be better in defense of your own base, be better at creeping, especially moving from the first camp to the next camp, and even harassing opponents' workers. There are many words about nerfing Dryad Bear strategy, which I believe, if implemented, should be very mild, because these changes affect all Night Elves openings, Warden, Keeper. So one direction would be to reduce the power of bears, master bears. So some of these changes could be considered. We move on to Huntress, and my suggestion would be to revert them to the state where they were like a year ago. So revert the Bouncing Glaive nerf, at least partially. Maybe reduce a little bit the Moonglaive upgrade cost, and importantly increase the Sentinel duration by at least a minute. So this would be a start. One thing that for sure makes Huntress build orders. Not very much playable is a high lumber cost of the Hunter's Hole. Night Elves mentioned this a lot in their recent years. And it is true, their lumber economy doesn't allow them to build Huntress Hold early, so their first Huntress is very, very late. A few other Night Elf balance changes that are possible is reducing the cost of Nature's Blessing, addressing fairy dragons, in particular allowing them to stop mana flare and reposition. We can keep buffing glaive throwers a little bit more, and I think they will appear more and more often in every game. And finally, mountain giants. Their upgrade is too long. 15 less seconds would help. That could be a good little buff for them. Additional suggestions for Night Elves would be to rework the spells of the Priestess of the Moon. I think the common agreement is it would be nice for the bottom to have a healing spell, probably single target, very much like paladins heal, but healing less the hero, because bottom is arranged, and allowing to heal Demon Hunter would be a little bit too strong. Druids of the Talon should be addressed. That was mentioned by Neo, especially the Initiate Druids. Talon's first spell is Fairy Fire, and it's quite weak if you compare it to Slow, Purge, or Curse. It would be beneficial for a unit to get it a stronger first spell. So maybe it could decrease attack damage as well. Also, we can address regeneration rate of the druids, because they usually are not healed from the Moonwells as they have mana. Increasing their hit points would be also a fine change, and their attack range is a little bit too high, just to let you know. Undead, finally. It's really hard to suggest something for Undead. My personal take, we should not keep nerfing them too much. I agree that Lich at level 4 gets a power spike. You can nerf Dark Ritual, but maybe not needed. One easy nerf that's on the surface is to nerf its intelligence gain per level. Lich has the most stats per level increase among all heroes, so if you reduce it by 0.2 intelligence gain, Lich will get 1 intelligence less at level 4, so minus 15 mana, minus 1 damage, minus a little bit of regeneration rate, so I think that would be better than a Dark Ritual nerf. Another small nerf I would suggest is to decrease the Halls of the Dead and Citadel slow effect on heroes, and the buff for Skeleton Mastery cost. Also, quality of life changes mentioned by Neo in his suggestions should be definitely considered. They're very nice. Additional suggestions for Undead, I would consider reducing the mana cost of Death Pact, making it in line with Dark Ritual, adjusting the percentages. For Dreadlord, please rework Vampiric Aura. Everyone is talking about granting melee units a little bit of damage. Initially it was designed to do so, but it was hard to balance. Vampiric Potion actually gives to a hero damage and lifesteal. Same should be true for the Vampiric Aura. So the suggestion is to make 10, 15%, 20% per level, but of bonus damage and lifesteal together. That would be very beneficial for ghosts. They don't need much lifesteal because they have cannibalized to replenish their hit points. As you can see, this change will make the aura stronger in level 1, which is needed, and it would be a little bit better than the current level 2 and on par with the current level 3 aura. If we speak about Creep Lord, we keep suggesting introducing the change for the Spiked Carapace to grant armor and damage to beetles as well. Also, it would be nice to see a change we've been proposing for a long time.
New and Shroud. Makes the unit invisible but destroys the caster's body. There we go. Invis Crippy right there.
The key is to give players new ways to experiment in the game. One more direction the new patch can look into could be armor and attack upgrades. The recent SK2 patch addressed some carapace upgrades for Zerg in this game as well. We can nudge researching level 2 and level 3 upgrades for the army, but to accomplish that, level 1 should be affordable. that could be a direction to look into. Quickly about neutral heroes, Alchemist definitely needs some attention. Naga Sea Witch Moonshield is still underused. Pandarian Brewmaster, we don't see him almost at all, unfortunately. The nerf was too significant, and I think it's not about damage, increasing damage. It's about slightly reverting the Breath of Fire area of effect, giving more attention to other spells as well. Beastmaster can get some attention as it was done in the previous patch. Just to remind you, it's a summoner hero with a very small mana pool and low mana regeneration, so addressing its intelligence would be nice. For Tinker, the first goblin spawns way late, after like 4 seconds, too much waiting time. Please reduce the starting goblin spawn time. Neutral units, please revert Troll Shadow Priest stock delay. Even Grubby, who suggested the nerf in the last patch, spoke that maybe it was too much.
I do think that either one of these alone could have been enough. It could be, and I know that I originally also suggested more, and they even have less than some of those suggestions, but it is probably more than needed. This one by itself might be enough. This one by itself might be enough. Hell, even 250 to 200 might be enough to even things out a bit. But we'll see how it goes.
And if we speak about items, we can listen to the Lin's suggestion to reduce the healing from the greater healing potion. Then it would make also sense to reduce the cost of all level 3 charged items by 50 gold, because with years their powers were slightly nerfed. That's all, guys. Thank you for listening. Bye.